Good day. This is the 6th lesson of the Pre-Algebra Worksheet Series. This is Worksheet 05, and we're doing the same thing we did yesterday. So we're going to have a problem. We're going to rewrite it with the shapes. So 3x would be 3 open rectangles. The plus 3 would be 3 open squares. The minus 3x would be 3 shaded rectangles, and the minus 5 would be 5 shaded squares. Then we're going to group the rectangles and the squares. So my rectangles here are not the same. Notice what happens. I'm going to scratch out. All of the rectangles scratch out, so the x's will go away to 0. And then my squares are going to cancel out, and I'm going to have 3 away from 5. I'll have 2 shaded squares left. That'll be minus 2. Okay, so we're going to go down here, and I'm just going to do one of these for you because it's the same thing we did yesterday. Let's do number 3 together. Okay, on number 3, we're going to draw 5 open rectangles. Then I need a shaded square. Then I need 2 shaded rectangles. And then 4 open squares. So you're just going to draw your problem out, okay? Now then, look at the rectangles. Remember, we're not going to draw these starting tomorrow. Tomorrow you won't draw them on tomorrow's lesson. So right here, 5x and 2x, you have more 5s than you do 2s. The 5 is positive, so the plus will drop. Okay, and then the 5 is positive, the 2 is negative, so we won't add, we're going to subtract. And when you subtract, you take out your 0 pairs. Notice I have 3 open squares left, and my variable is x. So what did I just write down? Sign, number, letter. That's what you were going to write down over and over. Now then, look at your squares. Remember, rectangles, squares, rectangles, squares. You got to visualize this without drawing it starting tomorrow. So we have 4 and 1. I have more 4s than I have 1s, so my sign will be positive. They're not the same, are they? These are shaded, these are open. I'm going to take a 0 pair out. I'm taking the small away from the big. This is what you're going to have to do tomorrow. So 1 away from 4 is 3. So my simplified answer would be 3x plus 3, and usually you don't put a sign in front of the leading coefficient if it's positive, okay? So if I simplify this, I'll get 3x plus 3, excuse me. Now then, we're going to go to the end, and I've kind of switched up at the end here, okay? So on these problems, we're going to start getting sign, number, letter when we multiply and divide, okay? So you're going to do the first 2 steps the same, but all you're going to do is write down the variable. So right here, a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 28 divided by 7 is 4, and my variable is x. What did I just write down? Sign, number, letter. Sign, number, letter. Right here, a negative times a positive is a negative. 6 times 8 is 48, and my variable is x. I'm only using x on this because that's eventually the x-axis. On the next worksheet, I'll have x's and y's, and the y's will turn into a letter on or a number on the y-axis. So you just do number 15 together. This will be the last one we do together today. A negative times a negative is a positive. You don't write down the plus. 2 times 3 is 6, and my variable is x. So sign, number, letter. If the sign's positive, you don't write it down. So these right here are the simplified answers to these problems. So you're doing the same thing. You're just adding the variable x to this. Good luck today, and remember to always believe.